Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everybody out there.
Like, what the hell is going on? That all these players, like Liverpool was an absolute...
Let's not get crazy. Here we go. 3-team teaser. 08. They just don't give a shit. Yeah. So,
Glad to be back again.
glad to be back. Another episode. Football predictions. Let's do it. Let's get into it. So much to talk about. It's been a really busy time. There's been some wagers, some action going on, hit and miss. Some of them came through, some of them certainly didn't. But man, there's a lot to take in, like these past 5 days, 6 days of football. So it's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
Oh yeah.
We'll cover it all for you guys.
We're gonna cover it all. Let's just start real quick. Premier League recap last weekend. We're not gonna get into all the games because there's too much to cover. Plenty of games, a lot to cover. I guess the first ones though that we do want to talk about real quick. Arsenal, Aston Villa. Man, that might have been the game of the year in the Premier League. That was ridiculous. Absolute ridiculous game of football. Really high quality stuff. Tough luck on Villa to get nothing from that game. They deserved at least a point because they played well, but Arsenal had a little bit of luck.
They did. But guess what, guys? We didn't nail the Villa to score first.
We did nail Villa to score first. Absolutely nailed it. So yeah, I guess the result didn't matter because Villa scored first, and we took home some money on that. The winning goal for Arsenal, Jorginho, but it turned out to be an own goal against Martinez when it came off of his head. Villa did deserve a draw. I can say this. In a way, I was kind of happy that it was an own goal against Martinez because let's face it, he's not a nice guy.
He's not a nice guy. All he does in the game was wasting the bloody time.
I know, and going back to the World Cup, he's not a nice guy at all. If there was one person that kind of deserved a bit of bad luck or maybe an embarrassing moment to go against him, it was Martinez.
It was him.
Yep.
We've got one thing to talk about Martinez though.
Yeah.
The last kick of the game, the corner. What do you think about it?
So this is what I'm going to say about that. So apparently Unai Emery came out and said, I told him not to go up. But he went up there anyway. Yep. When he's told not to. If a goalkeeper goes up there, the other players need to be aware about that. And they have to win the header no matter what. So if the goalkeeper comes up and he doesn't win the ball, he doesn't score, blah, fine, whatever. But you have to make sure that somebody on your team either wins the header, clears the ball, or takes a foul to make sure that the other team doesn't go up there and score a goal. Aston Villa did none of that, and it turned out to be completely ridiculous, and Arsenal got a free goal. There was poor communication. It almost looked like the Villa players didn't realize that Martinez had come up.
What?
It looked like he did it all on his own. Because if you go back and look at that, it was an easy header that Arsenal won. And they just won the header, cleared the ball out, boop, fourth goal, game over. There was some really poor miscommunication on that, really poor. But it didn't matter though, they were already going to win the game. So 4-2, 3-2, who gives a shit? Arsenal got the points.
We still made some little money
on it. So fair play to Arsenal, really important win for them, really key win after they've been in some bad luck recently, some bad form. That can take us into the other match, Man City, Nottingham Forest.
Oh my God.
Man, that was ugly. That was an ugly game for Man City. Steve Cooper does it again. Forest, you just can't count these guys out, man. They'll look really bad in some games, and then they'll play some of the big boys, and bang, somehow they'll get it done. But Nottingham Forest defended really well in that game. And that's why I'm sure that Nottingham Forest are going to stay in the Premier League, because unlike some of the other teams at the bottom of the table, they can defend.
I mean,
I like their defending a lot.
They are, but the most embarrassing thing is the person who scores Chris bloody Wood.
Chris Wood. We even commented on the video, or at least I commented, that Chris Wood, I don't mind Chris Wood, but sometimes he really lets me down. But man, he made me look bad in that moment because Chris Wood came up with the goods.
Somehow. Unbelievable. I was like, what the hell? Chris Wood just scores.
I know, man. He's been everywhere in the Premier League, and he finds a way to get goals. And he did it again. I thought Haaland had another bad game for Man City as well, which is one of those games where he just kind of disappears. What seems to be happening more and more recently.
It's starting to get.
Yeah, more and more. So he had a bad game. 1-1. I guess it's a fair result because Nottingham Forest gave a lot of energy in that game, and they got their deserved point. So that kind of puts Arsenal back in a little bit of advantage in the title race. It's just so tight right now. But Arsenal definitely have an advantage.
They have an advantage, but if they want to keep it like this, they shouldn't be playing like that. Arsenal against Villa, they shouldn't be.
Absolutely.
If they want to keep the momentum of it.
It's a game that Man City have to win, full stop. They have to win it. They have to win it. Okay, they did.
100%.
They didn't, and now the pressure's on for them in their next match. Man U, Leicester City played a game as well. This was a game that we talked about a little bit. I went for a Man U win in that game, which did happen. I didn't expect that game to come out the way it did. There were a lot of talking points. Leicester City were really, really good in the first half.
They are.
There was a clear moment where Man United should have had a player sent off for a red card. It was a ugly, reckless challenge that was so high, studs high in the thigh. And not only was it a red, it wasn't a yellow, it was barely anything at all. VAR looked at it and said it was okay, which is ridiculous. If that's a sending off, I think Leicester City win that game. I do. But Marcus Rashford had another great game. He got the first goal, then he got the second goal, which the second goal looked to be offside to me, but VAR said it was okay. At 2-0, that game was done, and Man United got a third, 3-0. At the end of the day, it was an easy win for Man U, but that red card decision really changed the whole game because Leicester City were playing very, very well in that moment. But another good win for Man U.
Good win. Weghorst has a lot of chances to score.
Weghorst is
I mean, he was saying to Sancho, pass it to me, pass it to me. Sancho was like, fine, I'll pass it to you. When he passed to Weghorst, he fucked up.
I don't understand how he's in the first 11. That's what I don't get. Like, if you sign him as like a super sub or a plan B the last 20 minutes, come on in the game, fair enough. This guy is first 11 every single match, and I just don't understand how that's going on. But I guess it doesn't matter because Man U are still playing well, and Marcus Rashford's unstoppable right now.
Yeah, he's unstoppable.
Unstoppable. So another good win for Man United. A few of the other ones, let's talk about real quick. An absolute catastrophe for Chelsea.
Tragedy.
Chelsea, like, man, Southampton is the worst team in the Premier League, but they have one of the best players.
Yep.
James Ward-Prowse, and he did it again. This guy is unstoppable. He's absolutely unstoppable. That was his 17th free kick goal in the history of the Premier League. That's number 2 all time. David Beckham's number 1 at 18. James Ward-Prowse is coming for that record.
Have you watched that match? You watched that full match, right?
Oh, I did watch that match. I watched it.
Boring as
It was
hell.
horrible. Southampton just shut him down. Chelsea looked terrible. Raheem Sterling, who's had a really bad season, he came out in that game. He actually played okay, but just like everybody else for Chelsea right now, he couldn't finish. So he couldn't finish. So Sterling, I actually thought did okay, but his finishing was terrible. Chelsea got nothing, lost the game. I don't know how Graham Potter is able to survive all this.
Well, have you seen the news that Mario Pochettino just rejected to be the Chelsea manager?
I did see that. I did see it. I also saw the news that Thomas Tuchel could be on his way to PSG.
PSG?
They could be bringing him back. He took them to the Champions League final a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And PSG could be bringing back Thomas Tuchel. I think it'd be a great hire for him. Chelsea needs to do something.
All right, here. Talk to me about this. Do you think Graham Potter should be sacked?
Yes.
Yes.
Full stop, yes.
Well, hear me out. I think you should never sack Potter. Here's the thing, okay? Hear me out. So Todd Bowley came in.
Yep.
And then 3 weeks ago, what's his name? Graham Potter came in 3 weeks ago.
Graham Potter. Yeah, Graham Potter's been there now for
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, he's been given £300 million by the player that Todd Bowley desired.
It is true.
It wasn't the player of his choice. And how come it is right now that in the Premier League you sign a manager like 3 weeks ago, now you want to fire him, now you want to sack him 3 weeks later?
I mean, listen. When Chelsea have signed a lot of players, and when you sign a lot of players, there is a process of getting the team to gel together. Fair enough.
Yep.
I just don't see Chelsea getting any better right now. That's for me, like, every performance is the same.
Yep.
They're not improving, but I guess to be fair to your point, maybe Potter deserves a little bit more time.
He deserves this whole season. This is what he deserves it. He didn't buy the player that he wants. The player that he just bought in because of Todd Bowley wants him to buy.
These are players that Todd Bowley didn't want. That is true. That is true. Bowley said, I want Fernandez. You know, some of these guys that Chelsea actually signed, I've never even heard of them before. they signed one from Leon, a fullback from Leon. I never heard of this guy before. So some of these guys, I don't know if they can play or not. We'll have to see. But okay, let's give Potter a bit more time.
Should give him. I think the problem is Todd Bowley, though. I think he's addicted to American a little bit.
Yeah. We're going to talk a bit more about Chelsea when we get to the Premier League fixtures coming up this weekend, because I want to talk about them a little bit more. Okay. The other two games last weekend to talk about real quick. Everton picked up a huge win over Leeds, 1-0. Everton, they're garbage, but they got a big win, a real big win somehow. Really helped them out a lot. They might be able to be safe, but there's a lot of games still to be played. And that leads us to the one game that I do want to focus on a little bit that we're going to parlay into the Champions League as well.
Okay.
Let's talk about that Liverpool-Newcastle game. All right. So, first of all, Liverpool caught Newcastle at a really good time. They're not playing very well right now.
Yep.
And Liverpool got 2 early goals in that game from Nunez and from Salah. Gakpo, Gakpo, you're right. Yeah. Salah set up the goals, but it was Nunez and Gakpo, you're right. And they were 2-0 up in that game early on.
Yeah.
After that, Nick Pope got a catastrophic red card and was sent off.
He was diving like a Superman, you see?
I know. After that, that was after 30 minutes. Liverpool 2-0 up after 30 minutes and the goalkeeper sent off. That game was essentially over, but it wasn't. Newcastle actually played pretty well after that. They were creating chances with 10 men, but they couldn't get through Liverpool. I'm convinced that if that game had remained 11 v 11, Newcastle would have won it.
Newcastle would have won.
I think Newcastle would have came back and won that game 3-2. I really do. But with Nick Pope out, there was no way back for them. Liverpool had a 2-0 win, but it was fool's gold. It wasn't a real win. It was a fake win in my opinion. So Liverpool had a 2-0 win over Everton, who's terrible, and a 2-0 win over Newcastle, who had a man sent off and were in poor form. So that kind of gave people this false impression about Liverpool. We get to the Champions League last night.
Okay, here we go. Champions League.
And the exact same thing happened. Wouldn't you know it? After 15 minutes, Liverpool are 2-0 up. Only this time, Real Madrid don't have any players sent off. And they said, you know what? This Liverpool team is still garbage, and we're going to prove it. And within 40 minutes, they were 5-2 up. And Liverpool completely fell apart because they have a garbage midfield and a garbage back four. And Real Madrid showed it to the entire world. And Liverpool are an absolute shambles.
They are shambles.
Shambolic shambles. What do you think about that?
Oh my! I thought Liverpool had that game when they're up for 2-0, but then Rodrigo scores.
Well, okay, the first goal from Liverpool, the Nunez goal, was a nice goal. It was a flick.
It was.
Courtois had no chance. It was a beautiful goal. The second goal was a ridiculous mistake from Courtois. Absolutely ridiculous.
It just reminds me of Karius.
It was Karius. We'll get to him later on as well.
We'll get there.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous mistake. Liverpool 2-0 up, but one of those was a really bad mistake from the goalkeeper. Within a few minutes, though, Real Madrid strike back. Vinicius Jr.
scores a banger.
A banger. 2-1. But even at that point, Liverpool, they simply said we're 2-0 up. It's Vinicius Jr. with a beautiful goal. But then things completely fell apart. Alisson had a shocking mistake. Absolute shocking mistake that Vinicius Jr. put in. And before you know it, it's 2-2 after 26 minutes.
So, as a Liverpool fan, how do you feel?
2-2 after 26 minutes.
Yep.
I felt how I felt before that game, that Liverpool were in big trouble. And at 2-2, I knew they were in big, big trouble. And very quickly, Liverpool are chasing shadows. They can't keep up with Madrid at all, man. Madrid are all over the place. They're dominating the game. And they just smoke Liverpool at that point. It was very quick. So it's 2-2 at halftime. And at halftime, I don't know what Klopp says, but clearly Ancelotti says to the Real Madrid players, listen, These guys are garbage. Just go out there and play football and you're going to win a game. And within 90 seconds, it was 3-2. And then it's over. It's done at that point. Liverpool have completely fallen apart. Benzema bangs in a couple more goals. And after 65 minutes, it's 5-2. After 65 minutes, it's 5-2. So Real Madrid get 5 goals in about 35, 40 minutes, and that game is done. And what's pretty surprising to me is Liverpool they were 2-0 up over 14 minutes. If you factor in stoppage time that was played, that means for 80 minutes of football, Liverpool did shit. They did shit. They couldn't even find one more goal to make that 5-3, make it a little bit more respectable. They could do nothing for 80 minutes. And it was good night, bye-bye, see you later. And surely that match is done. The second leg will be a formality. The second leg will probably be 0-0 or 1-1.
Could be.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter
For Madrid at all. They might be resting some players in the second leg. Liverpool are done. They're totally done. Their season is done as well. Their season, there's no way back for them. The defending is garbage. A couple weeks ago, I was talking about 6 players that should never play for Liverpool again. I'm going to throw in a few more. Joe Gomez should never play again at all. And the midfield is, we don't need to talk about the midfield anymore. Listen, Henderson and Fabinho started that game. When you see Henderson and Fabinho in the first 11 as an opponent, oh baby, you're just thinking, oh baby, man, we're gonna smoke these guys, and that's what happened. Fabinho's garbage, Henderson's garbage, Chamberlain's garbage, Milner's garbage, Keita's garbage, Joe Gomez is garbage, Curtis Jones is garbage. The list goes on and on. Alexander-Arnold is garbage. These guys are just completely done. So, great win for Real Madrid. There's a lot to talk about, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but the fact is this: Liverpool, their time is up. They are done. They're absolutely done. Other Champions League game last night, Napoli. I love these guys. I love them. I fancy Napoli to make it to the final in Istanbul. I think they're going to win. They're clearly going to win Serie A. That is done. That's a done deal. And I think they're going to make the Champions League final as well. Whoever is able to beat Napoli, man, they are going to have to fight for it, because that team is so good.
They're tough.
Comfortable win over Eintracht Frankfurt last night. Very comfortable. Couple more Champions League games tonight to talk about. Man City with Leipzig. What do you think about that?
I mean, Pep is mental right now. He didn't bring De Bruyne, he didn't bring Laporte, he didn't bring John Stones. What is in his mind right now?
It's a big
Pep always loses in the Premier League game against the smaller teams.
I know it.
Because of the shit he does like this.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's very, very risky. Very risky. So I still think Man City are going to win this game, though.
Against Leipzig.
I do, against Leipzig.
You sure? Because I'm not confident at all.
I think Man City will win it. I do.
All right.
But it's not a game I'm going to put money on. But I do think Man City will win it. By the way, in the Premier League, Spurs have lost, Chelsea have lost, and Liverpool have lost in the Champions League. All 3 of them have lost.
Yeah.
So Man City could be the only one that wins the first leg.
We'll see.
And then to round it out, the other match, Inter Milan with Porto playing tonight.
Inter Milan should be a comfortable win.
I'll go for an Inter Milan win as well.
It should be. Because you look at the squad, you've got the best striker in the world, Lukaku.
He's banging it in. He's not, by the way. He's not.
It's a joke.
He's not. But I still think Inter Milan should win this game.
Should be an easy win for him. Just for them.
Yeah. So I'm going to go for those 2. I'll go for a Man City win and Inter Milan win. But Liverpool are toast. Eintracht Frankfurt are toast as well. Napoli have won that. They're definitely going to win that. That tie is done. Let's talk a little bit about the big match this week, Barcelona Man United in the Europa League. First leg finished 2-2. It was 0-0 at halftime, and then in the second half, that game exploded into life. Marcus Rashford again had a great game. Man U could have won that game. Barcelona got a late goal to make it 2-2. What do you think for that second leg at Old Trafford?
I think Man U had it in the pocket.
You like Man U?
I think Man U's gonna do. Marcus Rashford's gonna score.
Okay.
He will at least one goal. Say at least one goal.
You're going for Man U.
And I think it's at Old Trafford.
Yep.
I mean, they go to Camp Nou and they can perform this well. Just imagine they're playing at home with all the crowds.
Okay, it's a tight one to call. I'm going for a Barcelona win.
You go for Barcelona?
I am, and I actually think it could go to penalty kicks.
Could go to penalty kicks.
I could. The away goal rule is gone.
It's gone.
Keep that in mind. But I still think this game could possibly finish 1-1. It's a tight game. It could go to penalty kicks, but I do think Barcelona are going to get through. I've just got a feeling it's going to be Barcelona.
I would say 2-1 Man United.
2-1 Man United. There we go. It's a good pick. I mean, it's hard to pick against Man United right now because they're playing so well. But I don't know. It's just a feeling. I'm going to go for Barca win.
Okay.
But it's very, very tight to call. Very, very tight. So let's get in Premier League this weekend. Upcoming matches. What are you thinking about these games? I'm going to throw some of them out to you. Let's talk about a real big one that's coming up. About a team that we've already talked about a little bit already. One of the big matches of the weekend. Chelsea and Spurs. Big London derby. Chelsea are in shambles. We went for a Spurs win last weekend over West Ham. It happened. Son got a goal in that game as a substitute. Spurs played pretty well. We didn't hit on all of our games last weekend. We got that one. What do you think about this one? Spurs and Chelsea.
Well, Spurs, the Spurs, they beat West Ham because West Ham made a mistake.
That's right.
They pushed the line up too far, and then when Son sees his space, then he just passed the through ball through, and then he just runs in.
That's right.
The defender was like, holy crap, what do we do now?
What do we do now?
That's why West Ham lost in that game.
Yep.
And I mean, Chelsea against Tottenham. This one's a tough.
It's a tough call. Keep in mind, one thing that's interesting about this game is both of those teams lost in the Champions League 1-0 the first leg. And so after that match, they have to play in the Champions League next week and try to turn those 1-0 games around. Spurs are playing AC Milan at home, down 1-0. Chelsea are playing Borussia Dortmund at home, down 1-0 as well. So both of those teams could have one eye on the Champions League second leg games that are coming up after that match.
I'll go for a draw.
I'll go for a draw as well.
Let's see, I'll say 1-1 draw.
I like that pick as well. It's one of these games I'm not touching. Spurs are at home. Chelsea, man, I still get the feeling that one of these days Chelsea are going to explode and turn this thing around, but I can't bet on them right now. I just can't. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, just like you in that match. Liverpool are playing Crystal Palace this weekend in the Premier League. You can't touch Liverpool right now. These guys are toxic. You cannot touch them at all. It's a game that I'm not going to touch, but if I did, I would go for a Palace win.
You're going for a Palace win?
I would, yeah. It's a game that's in London. I'd go for a Palace win, but I'm not touching it. I don't feel good about that.
If you're feeling lucky. If you're feeling lucky, go for a Palace win.
Yeah. But I'm going to avoid it. I don't like that.
Alright, let's avoid it. Okay, guys, if you don't want to take the risk.
Yup.
Leave it or take it.
Leave it or take it, yeah. Everton are playing Aston Villa. Man, Aston Villa had some tough luck in that game against Arsenal last weekend. What do you think about this match, Villa and Everton?
It's another tough one to call.
It's another tough one to call.
But you know what? I think Aston Villa will win it.
Yeah, this game is at Goodison Park. So far, under Sean Dyche, they played 2 games at Goodison. They've won both of them. They beat Arsenal and they beat Leeds. Now they get Villa. I'm going to go for a Villa win in this one as well, though.
Yeah, because the last match Everton go against Leeds, it should be a draw.
It should have been a draw.
It should have been a draw, but he made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
He wasn't covering the first post. So, yeah, I think the player that Aston Villa have, Coutinho, Buendia.
Yeah.
They should be Everton, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going for a win in this one for Villa as well. I like Villa.
Let's go for score prediction.
I'm going to go for a Villa 2-0.
2-0.
2-0 to Villa. Yep.
I'll say 2-1.
2-1. All right, 2-1. 2-1 Villa. All right. Is there any other kind of bets that you're looking at this weekend or thinking about this weekend, or any upcoming matches? Anything that you feel good about?
I feel good about the Champions League.
Okay.
So we've got Man City over Leipzig.
Leipzig, yep.
We've got Inter Milan over Porto.
That's right.
And then we've got Roma over Salzburg.
That's in the Europa League.
Yep, that's
All
in
right.
the Europa League.
that definitely could hit. I mean, Man City, Roma, Inter.
Yep.
I feel pretty good about that as well.
But if you want to go for Premier League,
Yep.
I'll go for Leeds over Southampton.
Yep.
Aston Villa over Everton.
Yep.
Arsenal over Leicester City.
Yep.
And Man City over Bournemouth.
Man City over Bournemouth. Okay.
4 picks.
4 picks.
But if you want to do a 3-team teaser, I would say if you don't want to touch Aston Villa against Everton, but if you want to take a risk,
Villa and Everton is risky for me as well. I know what you mean. I mean, I do like Villa, but that one's a bit risky. But okay, the 3-team teaser last week for me. I hit on Spurs over West Ham. Man City was a miss. They had a bad draw. And the one that I did miss on last week that I don't feel good about as well, I feel like I let some people down, but watching that game, I feel let down as well. I went for a Wolves win over Bournemouth. And Bournemouth actually won that game. Wolves played really, really badly. I was surprised by that, how bad they were. But that one didn't work out. But we did hit on Villa scoring first. And I did also hit on the... we both hit on the Barcelona Man U in the Europa League last week. That was a draw.
Yeah.
We talked about a draw for that one as well. This is going to be my 3-match teaser for this weekend, though. This is what I'm coming with.
Here we go.
One that you mentioned I completely agree with, that I'm comfortable putting actually a large chunk of money on, is Leeds United over Southampton.
Okay.
I feel really, really good about that game. I'm actually going to put an individual bet on Leeds to beat Southampton.
Now it's individual.
Yeah, but it's going to be in my teaser as well. But I'm also going to put money on Leeds over Southampton. I feel good about that game.
Okay.
The other ones that I feel good about as well, I like West Ham to beat Nottingham Forest. I know it, I do it. But I went against West Ham last weekend, and they lost against Spurs. I'm going to pick them to win this weekend. They're playing Nottingham Forest at home. I'm going for a West Ham win over Forest.
This is...
I'm
shocked.
I'm going for a West Ham win over Forest.
Okay, West Ham win over Forest.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it in.
And my third match in my 3-team teaser, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Man United over Newcastle in the League Cup final.
Man United over Newcastle.
I know it. What do you think about that? I'm going for Barcelona to beat Man United in the Europa League, but I'm going for a Man U win over Newcastle, and they're going to win the League Cup on Sunday night. That's my 3-team teaser. Man United over Newcastle in the League Cup final, West Ham over Forest, Leeds over Southampton. That's what I'm going with. Major happenings, major developments.
It's very risky.
I know, that's where my money's going to be this
All right,
weekend.
let's get that.
That's where my money's going to
But
be.
here's the thing.
Yep.
I completely disagree with you with Man United's going to win.
I love it.
Go for a penalty shootout.
Yep.
Now the door is open for Karius.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the League Cup final. It does appear that Liverpool reject and football dropout Loris Karius is going to make a stunning return
Here we go.
in the League Cup final for Newcastle United in Wembley against Manchester United. What do you think about this?
The door's open for him now. He's been fell off when he did shit performance in Liverpool against Real Madrid. He's gone forever. He's long gone. But now God has leave the door gaps open. It's time for him to sneak in and snatch
What a
it.
character arc this would be. I mean, you can't write this stuff.
Yeah.
You can't write. It even plays out that way. Keep in mind that Karius also, when Liverpool sent him away, he went on loan to a Besiktas.
Yeah, Besiktas.
He was so bad at Besiktas that they said, we don't want anything to do with this guy, get him out of here. I guess he was partying in Istanbul every night. He had no passion to play at all. And it got ugly. It got really, really ugly in Besiktas, and they sent him out. And I think he came back to Liverpool and he was training with the reserves. And then I think Liverpool sent him somewhere in Germany. I want to say Union Berlin.
Union Berlin.
I believe he was at Union Berlin playing with their reserves, and then his contract finished. And Newcastle decided to take a flyer on him and bring him in as a 3rd or 4th string goalkeeper. and it looks like this guy's going to be playing in the League Cup final.
Well, if he somehow mess up again, his football career is over. But if somehow it goes to penalty shootout, and he did an amazing save, and somehow
saves Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, just imagine that. Somehow Newcastle win the cup.
Oh,
he's
man.
He's gonna be back full of passion.
I mean, he's never gonna have to buy a beer for the rest of his life. Never, ever again. If that happens, but man, I just don't see it. I am going for a Man U win in the League Cup final over Newcastle. I do think it'll be a tight game. I think it'll be a competitive game. But it's hard for me to bet against Man United in the League Cup final against Newcastle.
Well, Karius needs to keep in his mind. If he fuck up this time again, he's
gotta stay focused. He's got to. I mean, that night in Kiev in Ukraine when Liverpool lost to Real Madrid, he was so bad that night. He was so bad. But let's see. You never know in football. I've seen it all.
The legends have returned. Guys,
Yep.
if you're feeling lucky, you know what? You just chose between us. I would say that you go for a draw.
Go for a draw.
Go for a draw. If you guys want to bet, go for a draw. If you're feeling lucky, okay? But if you want to trust, it's okay. It depends. If everyone has their own opinion. But if you want to believe me somehow, go for a draw. And then when it's extra time, go for another draw for a penalty shootout. And once the penalty shootout, go for Newcastle to win. Karius saves €3 million. We'll see.
That would be incredible. That would be absolutely incredible. Man, well, we've given our viewers out there a lot of good picks for these upcoming matches. You've made some good calls. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see how it plays out.
For the matches.
Oh yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. Tonight we got Champions League. Tomorrow night Europa League, and then the Premier League is back.
So buzzing.
Yep. So I think that we've covered it all very, very well. And till next time.
Yep. We'll see you guys.
Absolutely. Place your bets.
Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, Newcastle to win.
I love it. I like your picks. I mean, the one with Roma over on Salzburg. I like that a lot. I think that's going to definitely hit.
The special one's probably going to win it.
Yeah. You've given our viewers some good tips. Very good tips.
That's all he does.
That's it. So get those bets, and hopefully
we hit on
and get some action, man. If we hit that teaser, West Ham, man, let's see what they can do. Let's see if they can come through. But like, I think that one that we both agreed on that I really think some good money can be placed on is Leeds over Southampton.
That should be an easy.
I think that should definitely be a hit.
That's easy.
There's another one I saw. Fulham are playing Wolves this weekend. I do think Fulham will win that game.
I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch it as well, but I do think Fulham will beat Wolves. That game's at Craven Cottage. They should win it, but let's see what happens. Yep. Anyway, till next time, everybody out there, it's been brilliant.
Peace out, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends and families if you want them to make money as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. We'll call it a shot. See you guys next week.
Adios.
Peace. Brilliant.